All right. Hey everyone. Today is kind of a unique video. I'm doing another interview. This is actually my real estate broker. If you don't know, along with doing MotorMind, I also am a real estate agent or a realtor, and this is my broker. So this is Rick Robinson. He is an amazing person, and if you've seen some of my other videos that usually reference two Tesla Cybertrucks, his is one of them. And still, as of this moment, it is impossible to know whose is whose, because the person that owns the other Cybertruck, still, there's no way to identify the two. So if that's beyond me, that's not the point of this video. The main point of this video is we're going to talk to Rick, and he's going to share an experience he had going to Tesla. This is after he bought the truck. He's driven it about 3,000 miles, correct? Yep. And the point of this video really is about being fully understanding of when you buy a new vehicle, realizing what it means when the dealership is in the same town as you, when it's in another city down the road, or it's in another state. So without further ado, Rick, tell us about what happened with your experience with your Tesla. Maybe give us a little background as to what started happening, why you originally took it to Tesla, and then just let it rip, and I'll just interject with some questions as they come along.
Sweet, I love it. Yeah, so I mean, historically I've always owned Fords, Rams, Chevys, mostly Fords and Rams. So we've always had like a local dealership. We do have another Tesla. We've never had any issues with it. So honestly, the thought of like, where's the closest service center? It never really crossed my mind because we've never had problems with other Tesla. It's
sure.
Just
the Model Y?
Model Y, yep. So anyway, but yeah, so like within the first probably 1,500 miles of owning that truck, it was brand new, so you know it's got the full warranty on it and everything, but 1,500 miles or so, I had this little warning message pop up that said, I try to remember exactly. Anyway, it had some like little error code saying traction control disabled, stability control disabled, adaptive air suspension disabled, and it said like regenerative braking disabled, like please drive with caution. And I'm like, what the heck? And then like after a few minutes, it just like reset itself and went away. So I'm like, okay, so the first time I didn't think anything of it. Then it happened again, probably like another few weeks or a month or so later. Same thing happened, and then it went away after a few minutes. So I'm like, what the heck? So anyway, it's weird, new vehicle, and I'm like, shouldn't be doing that, obviously. So called Tesla, they said, yeah, that's definitely weird, bring it into the service center. So got that scheduled, took it down to Utah, because that's our closest dealer.
About 300 miles.
Yep, it's a good drive. And took it into them. And I guess how much do you want to know about the service center aspect of it?
Let's hear it all.
Okay.
Now, just to be clear, this is not a video to bash on Tesla. There will be probably a few slightly negative opinions, not necessarily about Tesla, but maybe about his experience, which is important. But the whole point is he had that experience on top of already being that far away for 3 days.
Yes.
2.5 days.
3 days.
So we'll get to that point here in a second.
Yeah, left on a Sunday, got home on a Wednesday. And it was brutal. So overall, like I was impressed with the scheduling process, the check-in process. Like that whole part of Tesla was like, it was super nice. You get there, you pull right into their big shop, you check in with your service center person. They give you a car to drive, and they basically just send it straight to your phone. If you're your Tesla app, and all of a sudden you've got a key to another car now. And so you just walk over to the car that pulls itself up, and you get in the car, and
that's cool.
They give you free supercharging and all of that while you have it.
Cool.
So so that aspect is really nice. Like it was a good start to the service experience.
Right.
What was not so good is so throughout the whole process, within your Tesla app, when you're in service, your app changes a little bit, and it shows you what it's in there, why it's in there for service, and it shows like everything they're planning on doing to the vehicle, all the diagnostics they're going to do, any repairs, and you can literally just track the whole process, who's working on what. You see all the technician notes within the app. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Until I noticed at about 4 o'clock when I didn't see any notes or any updates or any of the checklist items completed on my truck. And I'm like, what in the world? So anyway, I message my little service advisor. I just say like, "Whoa, is my truck gonna be done today?" And she said, "No, we actually didn't even have a chance to look at it yet." I'm like,
Ooh.
"Oh, great." So realized I have to get another hotel again. So stayed the night. And
So now this is, you went down Sunday.
So I went down Sunday night.
And this all started Monday.
Monday. So I check in Monday, 8 a.m.
And with the idea of that, sounds like you would beat the clock. You would go down Sunday, be there first thing Monday,
Yep.
get it in, bam, bam,
Because they
bam.
schedule you, say 8 a.m., you need to be there in front of the big bay door.
And he's
we
driving
pull all
home.
of you in at the same time,
Yep.
and we check you in. Like
Okay.
it was very organized. But anyway, I guess I did get nervous when I checked in because there was a really old Model S there that was in for a battery swap. And so I'm like, ooh, that's a big one. And then the two other people that checked in with me had something dropped on their glass roof. And so they were needing roof replacements. And so I'm like, eesh. Roof, yes. Yeah, I'm like, oh man. So one looked like a bowling ball had fallen on his car.
Jeez.
And the other guy, something hit, I don't know what the story is. It looked like something had hit him. And so it actually smashed in the top, like one of the I don't know, one of the pillars, like one of the B pillars.
Okay.
Smashed that in, and in doing so actually cracked the top of his windshield and the top of his roof.
Jeez.
So yeah, I don't know what he hit, but anyway, so that did make me nervous. I'm like, those look like big repairs. Like I hope, anyway, it was in the back of my mind that they might not finish the truck, but I thought they would at least start the
Sure.
truck,
Right.
or at least diagnose it. So anyway, nothing happened day one, had to stay the night, day two. And
So now it's Tuesday morning.
now it's Tuesday morning. I do start to see technician notes pop up, and I'm like, okay, cool. They're working on stuff. So I had it in there for that error message, and then the Cybertruck's notorious for the driver mirror shaking.
Okay.
When you're on the freeway. They have a fix for it, and what they do is they put it's caused by low frequency vibrations, but it's only on the left side of the truck, like at highway speeds.
Weird.
It's really weird. So I guess it took them a while to figure out why it does it, and then they have the fix, and they put a bunch of sound deadening material and vibration absorbing material in your door, and then they do something with the torque settings on the mirror. So
Torque settings.
yep, good old torque settings. So anyway, so I saw the notes. They did that. Like I could see exactly when they took my door panel off. I can see what harnesses they disconnected. I could see,
Okay.
so it was very detailed. Like it was really cool. And then I all of a sudden got a message towards the end of the day that that my truck was ready to be picked up.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm like, oh, okay. So I asked them like, what did you figure out with those error messages? And they said, nothing. Like it was probably just a fluke. And so I'm like, no, like you guys are the ones that told me to bring it in. So I need to be told something a little bit better than that. So they said, okay, well, we can't look at it again until tomorrow morning. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So get another hotel. Now it's Wednesday.
So just to jump in here, so they were initially saying it's okay to drive it as is, but they didn't have any explanation.
None. No,
Okay.
none.
That would be a red flag.
Yeah, I was
From anybody, from any shop, it doesn't matter what you're driving. If those two things should never go together.
right, especially when they're the ones that told me to bring it in.
True.
So
It'd be one thing if they said we're not sure yet, we're still looking, but we're gonna let you know. Now, in case you don't know, most all vehicles that have an internal combustion engine, they use engine vacuum to provide power brakes. Now, when these lights, what we call the Christmas tree effect, when all the lights go off on your dash, which is very common to have one thing happen that disables some other systems. That didn't impede your braking.
Oh no, not at all.
Your power brakes, because with a Tesla, there's no vacuum, so it uses a mechanical, basically an electronically driven hydraulic pump to create the power brake effect, the braking assist. But that was still there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good. That's the most important thing. Is you could on an older car or a traditional, gasoline combustion car, you can have those dash lights come on, but you still, as long as your brake booster works, you will still have power brake assist, which that's really the most important thing. Now, ABS might be disabled, which you do want, but for day-to-day driving, it would be probably exponentially more terrifying if that happened and then suddenly you push your foot to the floor and either you got to push really, really, really hard or the pedal just kind of goes down. But sounds like it was still working.
It was still just normal, yeah.
But when we involve things like braking, usually the NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Transportation
Safety
Authority, whatever,
yeah.
whatever they're called, they get really touchy about anything that involves brakes, any kind of safety concerns, anything like that. Because obviously, it's one thing if you are driving down the road and your car just shuts off, then you can just pull over and that's it. It's one thing if you need to suddenly stop and then you can't, or your brake pedal doesn't respond like it should. That gets a lot of people's attention, and that's how we get a lot of lawsuits. So anyway, not that that's happening, but I just wanted to kind of make some clarification about what's happening with RICs. So with that said, if the dealer were to come to you and say, we don't know what's going on, it's not a big deal. A, it's a brand new truck that has 3,000 miles on it, and B, you're the one driving it.
Right.
You're the one that has to have the sense of security or confidence that it's okay.
Right.
So I don't know. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So I obviously, I mean, after being there for 2 days and already kind of being annoyed at that
Probably
point,
slightly chapped.
Yeah, slightly chapped. That's a good way of putting it. And I'm normally, I mean, you know me, I'm a very mellow, pretty
I've never seen him mad.
Yeah. It's rare. I give myself one free. I was telling Grant and Carson this. I give myself one free pass a year to yell at somebody.
Oh, there you go.
I used it.
Cool.
So when they told me that, I'm like, look, I documented all of the codes that popped up. I sent them to you. You guys acknowledged them. I kind of called them out. I said, I think you guys just didn't do anything. And so anyway, I really pushed back hard on that, and I kind of fought them on it. And so I brought it back in the next day, and lo and behold, once they actually looked into it and they had to go dig through, he said they had to dig through the code, or anyways, it was more of a deep diagnostic they had to run on
Sure.
it. So I'm just like, thank you. See, you can do this.
That's something. That is something.
So, and he said, we figured out exactly what happened. And I'm like, hallelujah. And he said, what happened is your ECM was not booting up fast enough for the main computer to recognize that it was on. And therefore, all of the error messages popped up. And it wasn't until the computer checked again, which is a few minutes later, that it found it was online, that all those things went away.
Okay.
And I said, okay, perfect. So what are we going to do about that?
Right.
Because that's still not normal.
Right.
And they said, well, we just think it was a fluke that it happened. And I said, well, it happened twice. So, and it's, and I told them, I said, we bought 2 Cybertrucks at the exact same time. I said, Grant's has more miles than mine. You're 7,500 or so.
Like 8,000 now.
8,000, okay.
Jeez, man, I've been everywhere.
You haven't had that happen.
No.
You haven't had all the error messages pop up at once.
Not all at once, but I've had like the air suspension won't work. Like different things will just cut out at different times with no rhyme or reason why.
So it could be linked back to that ECM then, because if the timing, so they're synchronized in such a way, the way that they were explaining it to me, that one has to boot up before the other.
It's a whole boot up process.
Yeah, and so because the ECM was booting up slower than the main computer, that's what was throwing it. And anytime it did that, it would throw one or more messages.
Okay.
So I said, okay, sweet. So how are we gonna anyway, at that point they were gonna send me on my way again. And I said, no, I want this to not happen.
So they explained it.
Yes.
So they made some progress, but they still were wanting you to go.
To leave.
And not having actually done any remedy.
Correct.
Whether
after
it's
3
a
days.
software update or a hardware, firmware, whatever Tupperware's update it takes.
Yep.
That's on them. Now, the one thing to understand about Tesla, now we're going to get to this, but probably the breakdown came from more of a personnel issue, not like Tesla, the manufacturer. It's just more the people, their approach, the whole customer service experience. And one thing to remember about Tesla is all the dealerships are owned by Tesla. It's all in-house. It's not like go down to your Ford dealership and it's Jim Bob's Ford dealership where he is an authorized dealer for Ford. No, this is from top to bottom. Tesla makes it, services it, does it all. Now, to Tesla's credit, they do have a guy that has come out to Rick's house to do some light work, some light repair, updates, things like that.
Yep.
But which is very well appreciated. But this is Rick. Rick is he's a broker owner. this brokerage, and I'm sure there was some work you could do while you're down there. But the whole point was that he was supposed to get in and out in the day, you know, and he was accepting of that. That's part of the shtick. So you're back to this where they told you what was wrong, but they still wanted you to leave.
Yes. Yeah, and that's where I pushed back, because I said, look, like I need my brand new truck to be reliable and to not have these weird messages pop up. Like, I understand they go away, but they shouldn't be happening in the first place.
Yes.
So anyway, so and they're just said, you know, they're just the poor girl. She's just like, sorry, Jessica. Jessica was, anyway, she had some struggles with the customer service side of things. She's like, sorry, like, that's just what we're gonna, like, you know, maybe it'll be fixed down the road with an update or something. And I said, well, no, like, I know every Cybertruck is not doing this. So if mine is doing it, there's obviously some breakdown somewhere that we need to figure out. So anyway, so I got to the point literally of yelling at her with other people in the waiting room. And I said, look, I need my truck to work. I need this stuff to not happen. Like, you told me to bring it here, and I'm not going to leave until it's fixed.
Right.
So you guys need to figure something out. So that's when I got like upset. And she's like, I'll be right back. So she went and talked to the mechanic again, and he said, well, we could replace the ECM, but I don't think that's going to fix anything. And he said, so worst case scenario, we're back to square one. And so I pushed back. I said, well, best case scenario is it's fixed.
Yes.
Or we could check that off the list of something that didn't work. But let's try something.
Yeah.
Like, let's just not send me on my way and hope it magically updates at some point.
Give him another truck. I don't know.
Something,
What's a warranty mean these days?
Right. So anyway, so I pushed back pretty hard on that. And then, so finally they agreed. They said, fine, we'll replace the ECM. And I said, awesome, thank you. And then they came back about 10 minutes later. They said, by the way, warranty is not going to cover that. And I started laughing because I thought she was joking at this point. And she's like, anyway, she wasn't laughing. And I said, you got to be kidding. And she said, no, because we don't, you know, we're not in the business of replacing parts just for fun. And so that's when I got really mad. I'm like, this is not like a just for fun replacement. Like, this is a literal issue with the truck that we need to figure out.
Yeah.
And we need to do something to try and fix it. And so anyway, it took me kind of like raising my voice and yelling again and threatening. So I'd already looked up who their regional person in charge of Tesla was,
right,
and the head of service and all of that. So I just started like name dropping these people. Thank you, ChatGPT, to get me some quick information. And so I just said, like, look, do I need to go over your head and talk to this person, this person, and this person? And she's like, I'll be right back. So anyway, she came back. She said, we'll make a one-time exception to replace it, but we have to order it in. It won't be here for a week. So I'm like, okay, I can do that. Thank you. Like, awesome. So anyway, my life is really busy in December, so I haven't been able to go back down. But they do have it. It's there. I just need to take it back. They're going to replace it. I'm working directly with the service manager now, which has been a much better experience. Compared to just the other girl. And I did request a different mechanic.
Interesting.
Because I'm like, this guy obviously, he was a fairly young dude that just like, when I talked to him, because I actually said like, I want to talk to him. And
which you should always, I always advocate talking to the mechanic, because
I don't like secondhand information. And
yes,
like, yeah, let's
like
hear it directly
kind of
from
like playing
the horse's
telephone. Now, if you do standard routine stuff and you get a service writer, great. But if it's like something really technical or expensive or really involved, if you got to bring a box of donuts or whatever, try to talk to the mechanic, because he's the one whose hands are actually on the truck, who's doing the work, who's going to have the technical understanding and know how to be able to say, yep, here's this XYZ, here's what this YZ. Whereas a lot of times the service writer, they're having to interpret what the mechanic is saying, and then they
don't always understand what they're saying.
It just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know service writers, they have to have a place because of, you know, economies of scale and things like that. But obviously, you did the right thing. Talk to the mechanic. Talk to the higher ups.
Yep.
Because it just, you can't. It's one thing to have a older used car that's out of warranty that just, you know, whatever. When you have something that's brand new, and especially where Tesla, they're over all of it. They ought to be the ones that know everything there is to know.
Agreed.
because there's no interruption of information, technical understanding, any of that from the manufacturer to the dealership, because they're all owned by Tesla. So again, this is not a bash sesh on Tesla of Salt Lake or whatever they call themselves. This is to showcase. Now, obviously, Rick is no dummy. He knows that he lives up here in Southeast Idaho. The closest Tesla dealership is down in Salt Lake. There is a gap. But ideally, what would have happened is they would have gotten him in, gotten to his car when they were supposed to, and also just was more upfront saying, hey, here's what we see is going on. It's a really uncommon issue, or maybe we haven't even seen this before. Here's what we plan to do, XYZ, because that's for Rick. Either he needs to go home with a different truck that's not having that problem, or there needs to be an update or something that can be said, this is something we did. Mm-hmm. To the best of our knowledge, this was our best choice as to what to do to remedy this problem. But to say, this is not issue, it's okay, was not okay.
That's how I felt.
Right.
Yes.
And then being down there 2.5 days, just
that added to it.
Yeah, it just is.
And it got expensive because hotels are $160 a night down there.
Yeah, and they didn't comp you for that.
Nope.
So that's anyway. So that's good that your truck hasn't had that problem.
Yes, and there have been a few updates that have come through, just over-the-air updates. I mean, Teslas are always updating. So I don't know if there is something that came through.
Maybe it snuck in there.
Who knows? I don't know. It has not happened in a long time.
Right.
So it hasn't. I think the last time it happened was like the beginning of October.
Okay.
So, and I've about doubled the mileage on the truck since then.
That's good.
So, and yeah, it's never happened again. But
will it happen again?
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't know. And I was very frustrated with their just lack of caring after they're the ones that told me to bring it in.
Sure.
So.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Rick.
Of course, yeah.
And again, I'm not here to advocate that you shouldn't buy a Tesla. You shouldn't do that. Plenty of you have had just as egregious experiences at any other dealership with any other type of vehicle, and they might even be in your town. But that's at least back to the specific reason why we're doing this video. You got to think of these little things when you, if you live in a smallish town and the nearest Audi dealership or Porsche dealership or whatever dealership you're buying a car from is that far away. You have to think about, okay, well, what if something goes wrong, or it has to get fixed? Well, you got to factor in, how do you get the car down there? Can you drive it down there? All those things. So things to consider. Again, I'm not advocating you shouldn't buy a new car, but you should always be taken care of, and because that's what you're paying for. If you're not being taken care of on a brand new vehicle, then what is a warranty?
And just the customer service aspect goes a long way.
Also that, it's hard when you have such a new vehicle, like a Cybertruck. But, obviously I always tell people, you always have to remember, cars are made for humans, designed by humans, built by humans. Even if it's a robot, those robots are still managed by humans. The cars are driven by humans, fixed by humans, with parts designed by humans, and so on and so on and so on. And all we really want is a little bit of sense of security and just upfrontness, if that's a word, about the situation, and that probably would have made a big difference.
Huge. Yep.
So anyway, that's all we're going to spend on this today. Thanks again, Rick. You're the man. Keep driving the truck, and hopefully we'll never have to do another video like this.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Okay, bye.